And we're live, people. Welcome back to the channel. Big up to all of you. Make sure you do me a favor, hit that like button as you are arriving into the studio. Make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button as well. Please make sure you are following Football's 12th Man as well as Dan's channel and as well as Henry's channel as well. We'll get them to plug their social media and, of course, Twitter handles as well. We've got Flawless joining us very, very soon. Big up to Dan for joining. Big up to Lee for joining. And you know what? Big up to Henry, because it must be tough jumping on streams today. You must have woke up thinking, oh, no, today's going to be a bad day. Yesterday was a bad day at the office for Tottenham Hotspur. I was there. It was a beautiful day. It was sun shining. And do you know what? I actually will say this. I've been there for the last 3 years. That was the most enjoyable win for me because we were told we were depleted. We ain't going to beat Tottenham. No Rice, no Odegaard. And now, I don't know if you've had this, Lee, but today I've been told, well, Arsenal were going to win. It was obvious. They're better. No. The lead up to this game, I was told Arsenal were losing this game. Every single Spurs fan told me it was going to be 3-1, 3-0, 2-0, easy for Spurs. This is the time that Spurs will win. This is the time we'll be doing it. But, judges, we got the 1-0 win. It was a very decent 3 points, and it feels beautiful, Lee.
Beautiful. It's absolutely, it's a thing of beauty, because I'm with you on this. Like, listen, I've got a lot of respect for my Spurs mates and all that. Like, but they have all gone back in hiding. They've all gone. The internet's broken. They're not paying their bills no more. And they had the best defence in the Premier League. They the best goalkeeper. They prefer Vicario to Raya. They prefer Porro to Ben White. They prefer Saliba. They would prefer Romario and Van der Ven over our two there. And Indogi, who I thought was a good player, still is a good player over there. Their midfield was far superior. They had Haaland stroke Solanke up front, There's a bit of Harry Kane and Haaland mixed in. It's the best £65 million ever spent on a player. Better than Havertz. Kulusevski, it's better than Saka. And then all of a sudden today, no, we're crap. And by the way, they'd all prefer Ange as a manager because he's won things. So, and now out of his depth is what I heard. What is he? Is he in a swimming tank or something? Is he swimming? Is he? What do you mean he's out of his depth?
He's drowning. That's what he's doing. He's drowning. He's not swimming. He's drowning.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, a couple of my mates today, what do you expect? You're much better than us. We're crap. You know what I mean? Like, well, why weren't you saying that before the game? And this is the trouble with Spurs fans. They come up, they hype themselves up, they get themselves all up for these games, and then they get disappointed, and then they want to fight everybody afterwards, and because they've lost. And I sit there and I just think, like, well, you've lost. Surely you're getting used to all this now. Like, you know what I mean? You must really, where is your safety net? You know what I mean? Come out. Like, when I'm Arsenal Spurs, I always come out and I go, well, it's always a difficult game. It's we're away. You've got to be respecting that. We might I'll take a draw. I don't really mean it, but I say it like, I mean, now they come out, they're 3-1. I don't know what you went for, Henry. I think it might have been 3-1. I see all of them on socials, like, going into the pubs and all that, like, what do you reckon score today? 2-0. 2-0 would beat the scum today. 3-0 would beat the scum today. They got nothing here. Scum like this, scum that, like, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, well, what do you expect? We're rubbish. You're much better than us, like, get a grip, like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, know what you are. Know what you are, Tottenham Hotspur. You know what you are. You're very, very honoured and very, very privileged to be where you are in the league. I've watched you for many, many years. And top six is something you used to dream about back in the day. You're not what you think you are. That's all I'm going to say.
I love it, Lee. I must say, as hilarious, all of my Spurs fans today, their 5G must be down. I've not heard from them. I don't know what's going on, but it's been complete and utter silence from them all. But all week, they've been giving it. And that will happen now. They'll go quiet and quiet and quiet. Around about Christmas time, when the January fixture comes, they'll all come out again. We're going to Arsenal again. We've got Arsenal soon. I told you this. I told Henry and I told Deji and I told all these guys this. listen, I've got a lot of time for Henry, right? But some of the Spurs fans are the most deluded bunch of people I've ever heard about in my life. And they come out with this absolute rubbish. And I said to them, 38 games don't matter for the Spurs. 2 of them do. Arsenal at home and Arsenal away. That is all they ever get hyped up about. They'll get back in their box now. Oh, we actually don't think we're that good and Ange might need to go and all this. Henry, I'm going to just let you have the mic. I'm not even going to ask you anything, my bro. Just talk to me, man.
Yeah, sack him. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. There is absolutely no cohesion. 3 huge alarming red flags is that Arsenal don't have to be at their best anymore to put in a performance and beat us. Udogie dealt with Saka relatively well. Van der Ven dealt with Havertz relatively well. But Arsenal stuck to the game plan, and there is a blueprint out there on how to beat Tottenham. If you've got anybody who can win a header, you are guaranteed 3 points. Because Romero, genuinely, that guy has cost us a win against Leicester. He's cost us a goal against Newcastle, and Gabriel, who's got 15 Premier League goals, and 12 of them have been headers. You haven't got to be a brain surgeon. You haven't got to be a rocket scientist. You haven't got to cure cancer to see that Arsenal are good at set pieces. And then he just stands there, doesn't he? He just stands there, Potts. Just who we are, mate. Just who we are. Who we are, mate. Useless.
Damn.
Yeah. He is absolutely clapped, mate. Let me just read you some stats. Just because everyone who goes, oh, you're negative or whatever, right? We have won against one top 10 team since December. One top 10. We're not talking big 6. We're talking the top 10. We have got a 45% win rate under this manager, which is lower than Eric Ten Hag. And they want him gone, and he's picked up 2 trophies. So far this season, we've had our worst start to a Premier League season since 2015, and that was under Poch. And do you know where Poch finished that year? 3rd. Are we going to finish 3rd? You got more. Paul Merson said it yesterday. You got more chance of him winning Strictly Come Dancing than us getting in the top 4. We are an absolute embarrassment. We've got an attacking manager and we can't score goals. We didn't score a goal against Newcastle. It was an own goal. Everyone's going, oh, yeah, we beat Everton. They're going to get relegated. Everyone can beat Everton. Villa gave them a 2-goal advantage. And then John Duran just scores of Steven Gerrard. We're an absolute mess. James Maddison, the creative spark. How deep did he have to go yesterday to get the ball? He goes on our halfway line to pick up the ball because our fullbacks are higher up positions. We don't like defending. Like I said to you both on the preview, and you both agreed with this, we've got 4 good individual defenders. Yeah. You put them in this system, they are all over the place. I don't remember Saka doing anything that game because Udogie did his job. I don't remember Martinelli. Apart from that chance he had where Trossard played him through, where it was a great run. Apart from that, I don't remember him doing anything. Havertz, I don't remember him having too many clear-cut chances. So individually, the defenders did their job. When it comes to defending as a unit from a set piece, honestly, I'd drop Romero for the Brentford game. It's absolutely inexcusable for Argentina, Brazil, massive rivalry in South America. It gives you a little nudge, and then you put your arms in the air, and then he goes, "Oh, Romero had to get his own flight back from Argentina. I'm so sorry you're on 150 grand a week and you had to pay for your own flight. He wasn't fit. He had a cold. Fucking turn it in. 150 grand a week in a derby. James Maddison's giving Arteta a cuddle. You're having a laugh, mate. You're having an absolute laugh. Can you imagine that back in with Tony Adams, Ledley King? Were they giving each other cuddles at half time? The club is an absolute disgrace. And he comes out in his post-match conference and goes, I always win a trophy in my second season. I tell you now, there's more chance of me playing at Tottenham this season than him winning a trophy because we have got no cohesion. We don't score goals. We can't keep clean sheets. We can't defend set pieces. What have we improved from last season? The pre-season, we conceded 3 goals against the Korean 11. We didn't even have Jesse Lingard in that team. We're all over the place. Son, what did Son do yesterday? We spend £65 million on a striker and create about 2 chances for him. And unless you're Erling Haaland, let's be honest, a striker probably needs 4 or 5 chances a game to get 1 or 2 goals. Unless you're Erling Haaland or Harry Kane. And our fan base today, why did we buy Solanke? How about, why did we spend £50 million on Brennan Johnson, who is absolutely useless? Timber had the easiest job yesterday. I think Johnson got the better of him twice. One ball he put into, he might as well have gone in the Emirates. That's how far over the bar it went. And the other one went in straight into Gabriel. Saliba and David Raya could have laid down on that goal line yesterday. We could have played that game 5 or 6 times. We weren't scoring. But like I said at the beginning, Arsenal don't have to play well now to beat us. They stuck to their game plan. They didn't have Rice. They didn't have Odegaard. Defensively, very, very good. I don't remember Tottenham getting clear-cut chances without their captain, without their best midfielder, without option. They're bringing on Wanyeri. Wanyeri, look, in the 8 touches he had, was better than our midfield. He's 17. Yeah, we've got Mikey Moore, who's the next Gareth Bale coming out of the academy. We've got Archie Gray that we spent £40 million. He's not played a Premier League minute.
Mate, that substitution, Maddison for Werner, was embarrassing.
Oh, mate, honestly, who in their right mind would put Timo Werner on 180 grand a week? He's on the same amount as Heung-min Son. Heung-min Son can justify that because he's got 140 Premier League goals. He's played in the Champions League final. He has been, I don't know if you can call him a legend because he hasn't really won much, but he's as close to a Tottenham legend as you're going to get alongside Harry Kane. Timo Werner, on the other hand, this is the worst group of attacking players I've seen at Tottenham in my life. We are toothless. And you know what? Mark my words, we will lose to Coventry. We will lose to Coventry and we'll get dunked out of the cup, and then he'll come out with some useless bullshit PR thing about how, it's just who we are. Sack him. It's not overreactionary. We haven't beaten a good side. We haven't beaten a big 6 club in 12 months. Let's be honest. Let's just be brutally honest. Were Arsenal good going forward yesterday?
No, Henry, I don't think Arsenal played that well in the last 2 games there. Like, when we won 2-0 there, we played very, very well. The last 2 games, and the last 2, by the way, have been with Postecoglou. I felt comfortable in both. I know when you look back at the 3-2, Dan, you're in the game and you're nervous. But when you actually look back on the TV, what did they really create apart from our 2 mistakes in that game? And yesterday, I've watched it back yesterday. Yeah, they had a half-decent chance with
first half, Kulusevski.
Yeah, Kulusevski. But realistically, he was snuffed out. It was the only way he could get his shot off. And Solanke threw another Arsenal mistake, which was from Ben White. And, he dwelled on it a little bit. And, I think he was trying to be a little bit too precise. Maybe that's what the defence does for teams. But then I'm sitting there, when they put up 5 minutes for the field, I weren't like, oh, God, panicking and all that. I just felt like, it looked comfortable. I felt like for the first, you always go to something, you think, oh, they're going to nick one in a minute or whatever. They never looked like scoring yesterday. And that's their problem,
mate. We couldn't score in a profit. We are hopeless.
Do you know what's mad, right? I looked at the stat. There's some stats that absolutely stunned me, right? I think it was you, judges, who said this to me, that Tottenham, in their last 14 games in this season now and previous to last season, have beaten 4 teams. The 4 teams they've beaten.
Yeah, name those teams, Dan. Name those teams.
If this is a true stat, I am stunned.
It is a true stat.
4 teams they've beaten are Everton this season, who everyone's beaten.
Luton, the league,
who went down. Sheffield United, who went down, and Burnley, who went down.
Yeah. but
everyone else they've lost to or beaten or drew.
We're a great
That's
side.
a real stat. Damn.
Arsenal. Do you know what's even worse? Arsenal have kept 3 clean sheets in 4 games this season. We've kept 5 clean sheets in 37 games. 5.
Do you know what's funnier? The last 7 derbies, London derbies, that they care about, Arsenal, Chelsea, and West Ham, Postecoglou ain't won any of them. And
we got slapped by Fulham 3-0.
This is Postecoglou's wins as a Spurs manager. He's beaten United, which Flawless will probably agree isn't hard. He's beaten Bournemouth twice. He's beaten Burnley. He's beaten Sheffield United. He's beaten Luton. He's beaten Fulham, Palace, Forest, Everton, Brentford, Brighton, and Villa. And he has beaten Liverpool by basically robbing them by VAR. That is it. That is all he's done. I mean, that is crazy. That is a poor record. I can't believe he's still here. And by the way, he has spent half of what Mikel Arteta has spent in 5 years.
More than half. He's done more than half. The only manager that spent more since he's been a manager in the Premier League is Enzo Maresca. And let's be honest, they're doing a different level of spending over there. There's no excuse now. We're in Europe this season. We got a game every 4 days. You watch, honestly, you watch Coventry. It's got 1-0 Hadji Wright written all over it. And then then we go against Brentford, a Brentford side that could have had 3 goals in the first 30 minutes against City.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for an Edison 75-yard pass, they'd have got a draw there. And what are Brentford going to do? They're going to sit back and they're going to have Wissa, Buemo on a counter-attack. So my argument is, what does Ange do to counter or what does he proactively do to counter people's counter? We don't exactly, if we dropped our defensive line, I mean, it's hiding troops, mate. We don't even have a defensive line anymore. We've got 2 centre-backs. Our full-backs, mate, it's madness. It is absolute madness, this system. Our wingers can't score goals. Our number 10 can't create. Our defenders can't defend. But all this energy when we had Mourinho and Conte, sack him. He's a dinosaur. What, just because Ange says, mate? Like what?
Honestly, bro.
Lee, you've seen
the honeymoon's open now, then, Henry. Would you say, like, you know,
writings on the wall? He's got that Coventry game. If we come away with a defeat, which I think we will, he better not make that journey home.
Do you reckon? I don't think that's. Is that? I think realistically, if I'm a Spurs fan or I'm going to target the Europa League. That's
do you think we're going to win that? Be honest.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but you've got a better chance of winning that because there's no one.
You've got Man City in it than us, and you're not even in the comp, mate. Look, and everyone keeps comparing Arteta and Klopp. When you were absolutely dusted at 8th, you could see, right, that you wanted to get rid of the deadwood. He wanted his own players, and you could see a style of play. No one can blame Brian Hill, Ollie Skip, Harry Winks, Dyer, Royale. No one can blame me. Højbjerg. We could have done with Højbjerg yesterday. Because I tell you now, the minute Jorginho would have gotten the ball, straight in the back of him. Was there a derby challenge from Tottenham? The referee's giving out more cards than fucking Clinton's. It's an absolute disgrace. It's not good enough. Everyone's laughing at Chelsea. Look, they're spending £1 billion. They won at the weekend. They won. Man United won. And Arsenal won. Villa. We're the only... mate, honestly, in our fixtures, we've got Man United away. I tell you now, we won't beat them. We've got a horrendous record there. We've won there 3 times in 30 years. We've got Villa, West Ham, and City coming up. Guardiola is going to have an absolute field day. But it's just who we are, mate.
I would worry if I was a Spurs fan. Real talk. I would actually worry. Let me bring the boys in, man. Let's see what they think. Let's come to you first, Flawless. What are you saying about Spurs? Are they Spursy still?
I would say they're Spursy still. The game surprised me because North London derbies normally they're high energy, the tempo's quick, and whether Spurs' quality is there or not, they lay siege to the goal. There was never no momentum in the game. There was never a point in the game where I thought Spurs were going to score. Before Arsenal scored the goal and after Arsenal scored the goal, you're expecting it, despite the lack of quality in the side. And that was the most surprising thing to me. I've never seen Spurs that poor in a North London derby ever, even ones they've lost previously, especially being at home as well. So that was the most shocking thing. Yes, their attack isn't the best, their attacking options, and I think everybody knew that. I think any Spurs fans knew that they needed to improve. Man mentioned Timo Werner. Why he got signed back, I have no idea. To sign him once alone is crazy, but to have him and then get him back again is terrible. Brennan Johnson were even Forest's best attacker. So why go and spend 50 million on him? And yeah, Solanke didn't have much service, but you still have to do more. You still have to at least give. It's just the effort. It's just the application thing. You have to give the defenders more of a tough time. Yes, Arsenal are very, very good defensively, but they'll face tougher games than teams that are worse than Spurs on paper. 110%.
Thanks.
Yeah, they will. And like that's the unforgivable part. You'll forgive, like I always say, you'll forgive lack of skill, but you can't forgive lack of will. Yeah, Maddison none of their attackers were good. Maddison, Kulusevski, none of them. And obviously Arsenal were missing players as well. Rice, Moreno's injured, of course. Odegaard wasn't there.
Do you think it's the players or the system? Because
I think it's a mix of both, to be honest. I don't think the system.
Is Maddison really that bad?
I rate Maddison. I wanted him before you lot signed him.
He's got
signed
one
him. I
goal
wanted him
this
United.
calendar year.
Yeah, but he's been since he came back from that injury, the second half of last season and the start of this season, even though the start of the season's mixed, he's just not been at it. Like I was talking about Solanke. Yo, Maddison, you have the talent. You expect more. Get on the ball in the half pockets and try and make things happen. And yeah, he's gone to collect the ball from deeper, like you mentioned, Henry, but you still have to attempt to do more. It was too easy. That's the worst thing about Arsenal. Were comfortable. Arsenal were even at their best.
The training
That's
session.
the worst part about it. Yeah, Arsenal were even at their best and thoroughly deserved the win. That would irk me. That would be the most irritating part if I'm a Spurs fan, is that they were comfortable and it was at your place. So pretty much my thoughts on it.
What are you saying, Dan?
I'm baffled by Ange. I didn't expect him to not change anything this season. I feel like, if anything, Tottenham have regressed this season rather than made forward sort of movements in terms of where they stand tactically. I think set pieces are a huge issue, and Arteta quite obviously noticed that and focused on that. There was a couple of moments where I thought they could have had a chance from corners, because Vicario was flapping at pretty much every ball that came near him, and I think that's a weakness that got found out last season and has never really been addressed. Like Henry said, Romero, set pieces is definitely a bit of a weakness as well. I think on
Even
the
goalkeeper
ball,
as well.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's Vicario, isn't it? He's just flapping all the time.
Flapping like a tramp's trousers in the wind. It's honestly, mate. Let's be honest. He is. Would any of you take Vicario? Obviously, Arsenal. Would you take Vicario?
I wouldn't take him, mate. I think there's a weakness there that's definitely too big in the Premier League.
You're gold, son. You're gold.
This is class. Absolute class.
On the ball as well, I feel like the game plan is just completely idle and stale. You're just passing the ball sideways. Like Maddison dropped deep into the centre circle to get on the ball, and then he literally almost drops as far down to be a fourth centre back on the ball, and then he releases the ball sideways about 5 yards. And I think, what have you achieved by doing that? At least try and make something happen. I've got to give credit to like Kulusevski, because I felt like he actually was trying to make something happen yesterday. You know, he was getting on the ball. He was trying to take his man on. He was trying to drive and fight a little bit. And I feel like a lot of the players that are probably considered better than Kulusevski, who are at Tottenham right now, just weren't putting in the effort. Like, I feel for Ange a little bit in that sense, because I feel like some of his better players are letting him down at the moment. But look, if Ange has lost the dressing room because they feel like they're being sacrificed every single game to his high line, then maybe it's time for a change, because I don't want to see Ange out of Tottenham. I'm loving it. But to be honest with you, I think as a Tottenham fan, I don't know how much more you guys can take. If you actually... the worst thing for me as well is in summer, the recruitment. Like, you obviously spent money, but Ange must have wanted these players.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing about it. Yeah,
you're spot on, because... Sorry, Flores, just quickly.
So cool.
He said on an interview with Sky Sports and Football London multiple times that a player will not come through the door without his approval. That's absolutely fine. No problem with that. But you spend £40 million on a player from Leeds who has got serious talent in Archie Gray, and he has not played a Premier League minute. That's not on Archie Gray. That's on Ange Postecoglou. What we could have done with it yesterday, Arsenal bring on Wanyeri, 5 minutes added on, and he come on the 86th minute. So he's got roughly 10 minutes. That's huge for his development. Comes on, couple of good touches. You know, he's not going to start anytime soon, but it's like building the player up. We had Archie Gray playing centre-back in pre-season. He's a midfielder, centre-back. Honestly, there's zero tactical idea from Ange Postecoglou. Zero. Like, that Brentford game, I don't even want to do a watch long. I don't even want to watch us at the moment. When you looked at Pochettino and Conte and Jose, there was an idea. Does anyone know what Ange ball actually is? Because at the moment...
Like, defensively and where he wants your team to play, I think it's obvious, because he wants you to be compact in one area of the pitch. And I think for the first 10 games, there was a clear and obvious way that you were going to beat teams. And then ever so slowly, like for
we got found out.
Yeah, the last 32 games, like you said, I think on one of your stats,
the last 32. That's like 80% of a season.
It's like 45% win rate. Like, you've been found out. There's big issues there. You're barely keeping clean sheets. I mean, people talk about the high line, but then actually defensively, even when you're not in the high line, I've noticed like against Newcastle, it wasn't that obviously they executed well against the high line, but at times they made Tottenham look useless defensively when they were set up exactly how they should be in a defensive block. Like, it wasn't that they were on the halfway line, they were actually in their block, and the defenders just couldn't defend. And people say that's the best part of Tottenham's team is their defence. And ultimately, either Ange is getting something massively wrong, or these players just aren't as good as what we've been led to believe.
Listen, I was saying yesterday, and I'll say it again, the high line is suited Arsenal yesterday. And I'll tell you why it suited Arsenal. Because if they'd have dropped 10 yards, they'd have had like a little bit more space to work their thing in. But what they're doing is they're playing on the halfway line. So instead of playing like 70 yards of a game, it's congested into 50 yards, you know, and Arsenal going, right, okay, we're happy with that. Like, and what Maddison was doing was he's trying to find spot. I felt sorry for him. As a player, I felt sorry for him yesterday because what he was trying to do was trying to get on the ball, but there weren't nothing on. But what I'm saying, if Tottenham drop back 10 yards, that stops anybody getting in behind them so much. But what it also does is it means that it opens out the space in midfield a little bit, and maybe they can find little pockets, little 1-2s and get into what was happening yesterday. I don't know if you noticed it on a few occasions, Henry, was that they'd done a 1-2 and played it round Partey or Jorginho, and as they come to the second part, the centre half was there, Saliba was there, or what? Imagine if you took that back 10 yards, Saliba and Gabriel might come out, and they've still got a little bit more space in around them. But what was happening was too congested. So what they do is they're getting behind them. There was no space behind. The defence of Arsenal just pulled up tight. So basically, if you want to be really honest, Arsenal defending on their 18-yard box, and then you've got the halfway line. So how are you going to get in behind that? And so I think
you're not going to get in behind.
No, you're not. And it proved right. So what?
But then that's Lee. Don't you think that's where they tried to focus their play in terms of getting the ball? I felt like they tried to get the ball out wide because they realised they wouldn't get in behind. But then the quality of cross and number of times that came for Solanke was so minimal. It was like, what's the idea here? You're trying to get the ball wide, but then
he's getting
failing to deliver.
Yeah, but
so
I seen Match of the Day yesterday, boys, and basically they did say that Arsenal saying like let them have it in the wide areas, so like they can cross it. Arsenal had this problem years ago under Arsene Wenger. We used to like get out wide, and there was like we was crossing it in for no one. You know what I mean? Like, and at the end of the day, I'm not criticising Solanke. We don't know what he's going to be, whether he's going to be a great player or not. Like, I'm messing about because all the Spurs fans are saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. Like, you know what I mean? So over the last couple of days, but when you're up, if you're Solanke, you're up against two unbelievable players. Like not one. If you get in front of one or behind the other one's there. Like, so really see, let them cross, played right into their hands. You know what I mean? Like that was I just. In the end, they was just like pumping the ball in, and it was. I think someone said it yesterday that if they were going to score, it would have been a deflection or a lucky break or whatever. Yeah. It wasn't. They was never going to open up Arsenal yesterday, and that's their problem. And I think that the high line is also a weakness for them going forward as well. Drop it back 10 yards, then you ain't got to worry about it. Van der Ven yesterday, I'm going to say this now, he's very, very good on the recovery, but his actual defending, I don't know if it's all like last
ditch, isn't it?
Yeah, last ditch, yeah. And I don't know if that's him being a bad player or it's the way that they're playing.
That's how they set up because of the high line, because he's always chasing back.
Yeah,
That's something. Well,
it doesn't seem he's got the pace to do that. I'm not saying, but what I'm talking about proper defending now. Havertz won more or the same amount of headers as him. You know what I mean? He's not a dominant central defender there because basically what he's doing is having to be on the half turn all the time, ready to sprint back. And I tell you this now, 4 or 5 times yesterday, he's making last ditch tackles, winning the ball. The fans are all going mad. He's rolling over. But how long is the body going to take before that breaks down?
About 3 weeks.
Yeah. I honestly, I'd say that, Henry. Within a couple of weeks, he'll break down again.
We saw it last year, didn't we? After like 10 games, Henry, didn't we?
Yeah, the exact same happened last year. And the thing is, teams want us to have the ball now because they know there's so much space in behind. The difference
Yeah.
between Aston Villa's performance against Arsenal and Tottenham's performance against Arsenal is they had a powerful runner in midfield, Rodgers, and they were up against Rice, Odegaard, and Partey.
Yeah,
We were up against Jorginho, Partey, and it was sometimes Trossard, sometimes Havertz. But he was, and I don't know if you lads agree, but at times he was bullying that Arsenal midfield. And look at the clear-cut chances Villa had. But let's be honest, Ollie Watkins on another day gets a brace there. If it's not for an absolute miracle save from David Raya, I don't remember us having it, other than the Kulu chance, a clear chance coming away. Like, there's nothing. I don't mind losing a game if there's a lot of positive moments in that game you can take into the next game. Well, eventually, this might happen for us. But we've literally seen the same game copy and paste from Newcastle to Arsenal. The only difference was Dan Burn put an own goal on his. It's not like we scored. Like, it's madness, mate. And Brentford will do the exact same. They'll have about 12% possession and beat us 3-0.
Do you know what I always
bad,
think with a gaffer and his tactics? So, like, if there's an idea or you can see some sort of positive coming from their tactics, I understand why they're deploying them. But if it's like now, where on repeat these tactics are constantly causing a problem in your side, why you keep sort of persisting with these tactics and this high line and this avoidance of dealing with set pieces?
He's so stubborn,
different
man.
results.
He's so stubborn, man. It's crazy how stubborn he
crazy.
is. But I look at this, right? I want to read this out. £400 million spent, right? And this is who they've spent it on. Some of these, I will say, have actually been good players. But this is in euros, by the way, because it's transfer market. 55 million on Brennan Johnson. What the hell were they smoking when they bought him, by the way? That was crazy.
They bought the wrong bloke, didn't they? They should have got Gibbs White, man. They definitely...
100%, man. 100% they should have. James Maddison, who I do think is a good player still. I know he stunk out the place yesterday, but for me, he might have fallen off a cliff a bit, but I still do think he's a baller. Pedro Porro, can't defend, but going forward, but that was 40 million.
He's not a defender, though, boss.
No, he's a winger. He's actually a winger, man. There's no way he's a right back. That's
might be
sure.
better playing him at wing, actually. You know what I'm saying?
Better than Brennan Johnson, I'll tell you that for free, because he can't cross the road, mate.
He's better than Johnson. He's better than Johnson.
Johnson, 100%. 40 million on Van der Ven, who is a good defender, to be fair. He is quality. 30 million on Kulusevski, but obviously you'd had him for like 2 years on loan prior to that. Dragusin was 25. Vicario was 20. And then you signed a couple of others on free transfers. Then the following summer, you've spent 65 million on Solanke, 40 million on Gray, 30 million on Odeberg, 10 million on Bergval, 4 million on Min Hyung, whoever that is. And then you've got another couple of other players, right? So that's 400 million euros that has now been spent at Tottenham in 2 seasons. That is a lot of money, you guys. How
many of those players would you guys take? There you go. The silence is
I think if you I was actually just trying to think, like,
yeah,
I was sort of think.
More than you
think anyway. That's because where my team's at, but more than you think. Like the likes of like
Van der Ven.
Yeah, Van der Ven.
I think I would have taken Solanke, to be honest with you. I was quite.
Yeah.
Like, when I see him go Spurs, I was like,
the trouble is though, like with Tottenham at the moment, and they've done this before, and they've done it again to a certain degree. They've got 100 million for Harry Kane, which, like, is good money for a 30-year-old. Let's be really honest. It's good money if you're going to sell Harry Kane at 30 for 100 million. I think most clubs would take that, if I'll be really honest, it's a good deal. Especially with a year left of his contract. In fact, it's an incredible deal with a year left of his contract. Could have gone for nothing the following year. So you think, right, okay. Right. Oh, and like people go, Spurs have got all this money now, but whatever they do, they're not going to replace Harry Kane with that, right? There's no one out there that they're going to replace. So they go and spend 50 million on Johnson, 60 million on Richarlison. Now people go, Richarlison was a year before. Richarlison was realistically getting him in a year before to be the replacement for Harry Kane. Yeah. It's not quite happened, Down at 65 million on Solanke. You know what I mean? So now they've spent all that Harry Kane money. And they've got no one near as good as Harry Kane. No one near as good as Harry Kane. And that's the problem. You had
what was it yesterday, Lee, when they said, we miss Harry Kane?
I'll tell you what, I was driving home.
You can't blame Levy, though, Lee. You can't, because Levy's given him a lot of these players that we've signed, Ange approved. We spent 400 million. No one can go Levy out. And you know my thoughts on the ownership. No one can do that.
No, they've given the money, but
exactly.
I'm lucky to be here, lads, because I was driving home yesterday, nearly crashed. I listened to Talk Sport, and a Spurs fan got on there, and he said, like, we're not missing Harry Kane for his goals. We're missing him for his defensive duties.
Hey, it's true though.
Area.
That is the best thing I've ever heard, man.
I tell you what, I nearly crashed the car. Like, I'm laughing so much.
Missing
like,
Harry Kane for his defensive headers.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? What is going on? What is going on? Like, you know what I
How,
mean?
how many games do you think he's got left? Be honest. I reckon he's got and I'm not exaggerating here.
After Man United, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon he's got the rest of this month.
Yeah, listen, I'll be really honest. If you lose to Coventry, it'd be laughable, but it ain't the end of the world if you go out in the Carabao Cup. I'm sorry, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that will even be questioned. If he was to draw against Brentford, lose to Man United, I think your next game is Brighton away.
Yeah. Good luck with that. We're going to get.
That's a tough game. That's not. Well, those games here are not nice because you go, oh, you expect them to win there. We talk about Man United, like, you know, Man United.
Europa League before that as well. 3 days before.
Yeah, you know, it's like if Man United beat Southampton, everybody goes, oh, you're expected to beat them. But if they'd lost that, there'd have been a lot more going on to it. And I think that sort of Brighton game's a little bit like that. And I think then, as you say, you've got West Ham at home.
Villa
and Man City, like, you know what I mean? Like, now, if you're not on double points by those games, then it's see you later.
Look at West Ham, right? They just brought in a new manager, brought a lot of new players in. They've played better football than we have. And they've got a manager who's not necessarily a tactician, because no one at the moment can see a clear play style, but they've gone to Fulham last year where they got spanked 5-0. They've come away from a draw. They had good chances, right? They had some good chances against Man City. If Kudus doesn't hit the post, that and a couple of inches the other side, that game goes a completely different game. With us, we're £400 million down the drain. Like, apparently Jamie O'Hara, mate, we've won the transfer window, mate. The quicker that he come out, this absolute clown, and I do like Jamie O'Hara. Well, you know, I wouldn't swap. I'd swap Aaron Lennon, I'd swap Jermaine Defoe, and I'd swap Huddleston. You know, from all these players. These players are championship level. We signed Aaron Lennon, Huddleston, and Jermaine Defoe from the championship. You clown. He's out there saying our players are championship level. Like, you're a walking contradiction. And he's sitting there giving it large in the box, mate.
I've always said that, Henry, like, you know, he's a good advert. Kids don't do drugs. He's a good advert for that, like, you know.
Can we move on from Spurs? It's just extremely depressing.
I just want to say one thing about Spurs, really, like, you know, as it stands in the league, like West Ham, you're above West Ham, but the teams below Spurs at the moment are Everton, Southampton, Wolves, Ipswich, Palace, Leicester, and West Ham. You know what I mean? Like, realistically, you should be above them. They're them lot there. That's the relegation battle, by the way. I can't see it. You know, Spurs are at the moment, like, I'm looking at it really. They're only 5 points off top four, or 4 points off top. Yeah, 5 points off top four. I don't think it's all doom and gloom for them at this moment in time. And you're right what you're saying, Henry. Like West Ham are a lower position, but no one's having a meltdown about them at this moment in time.
Because it's expected that they're in a transition phase. The last thing I'll say about Spurs, and because I want to move on because it's making me want to jump out a window. We spent £50 million on Brendan Johnson. Nottingham Forest spent £21 million and got Elanga and Hudson-Odoi. Elanga and Hudson-Odoi both start for Spurs.
Yeah,
that fact. Hudson-Odoi comes off the bench. You know, this 1v1 demon I'm hearing. Buries one against Liverpool. You watch when we go up to Anfield, we're going to get absolutely steamrolled. Opened up like a tin of beans. When we play City, if you play fantasy, I would advise you strongly to triple captain Erling Haaland, because that'd be the easiest hat trick he gets, because we don't defend. We play a 2-8. That's our formation. 2-8. Laughable, mate. Absolutely laughable.
Crazy.
Mate, this loving that Spurs have got for Romero has just got to stop now as well, because he's actually costing Spurs points, and they're loving him and like getting excited about how great he is because he won a World Cup. Yeah, so did Mustafi, man. Let's just calm down. This guy is absolutely like clown when it comes to errors. People like laugh at Gabriel's bozo moments. Yeah, man, I'd take Gabriel any day over this Romero guy, man. Jeez. Anyway, let's move, man. I mean, like Dan, we might as well talk about Chelsea, but I don't see the point talking much more about Arsenal because me and Lee, I think, have done it to death on these channels, on my channel. But I've got to say, Jadon Sancho come on and changed the game for me, bro. I was actually really impressed with him. Until then, it's just the same old Chelsea for me, if I'm honest. Thought Pedro Neto was pretty poor. I didn't see much from him. I actually really rate him, by the way. I think he's a baller. But do you know what? I've been arguing with Don to and fro for bloody ages. This Nicholas Jackson is just awful. I'm sorry, man. He is absolutely terrible in front of goal. And I think now, for me, and I'll put this to you, I would play, if everyone's fit, my front four for Chelsea would be Palmer in the 10, Neto on the right, Sancho on the left, and I play Nkunku up top, man, because that Jackson can't play in front of goal. He is absolutely terrible in front of goal. Yeah, he might be quite nice at other bits that he does, but my God, he's so bad in front of goal. And I think Chelsea might actually score and create quite a bit with that front four, man. So what did you make of it, bro?
Yeah, another game where I felt like we didn't start too well, to be honest with you. I thought the first 45, Bournemouth were probably in the ascendancy. I think obviously if they'd have scored their penalty as well, it might have been a different game, but Sanchez did well to save it. There's definitely some issues there for me in this Chelsea side right now. I think going forward, we all know we should have brought in a striker on deadline day, and in the build up to that, we were talking about Osimhen, obviously, and they didn't quite make it happen. Jackson's a good player, but I think you're right. I think in moments, he's probably not clinical enough to take Chelsea to another level. I think in some games, like we were talking about how many chances a striker needs, I think Jackson is one of those guys that probably needs 4, 5, 6 chances to be scoring a goal. There are some areas of his game that I really like. Like his off the ball running actually against Bournemouth wasn't that bad, but the pass was never quite good enough, or he wasn't able to do anything with it. And it's definitely an issue because you see that 10 minutes to go, he's not been clinical enough, and we're relying on Nkunku to come on and actually have a little bit of quality, which is where I think Jackson really lacks that in front of goal. I moaned about the Crystal Palace game and where I felt like we didn't have anyone in midfield. Well, yesterday we spent the majority having 2 in midfield in Vega and Caicedo, and they didn't really rotate as much. But obviously Pedro Neto wasn't great, but Sancho came on and looked like a different player and really was probably the catalyst for Chelsea managing to get 3 points. Bournemouth's always going to be a tough game, by the way, especially away for Chelsea. We've struggled in that fixture a couple of times. I think last year was a 0-0 draw. So you might argue that we've improved, but I'm not sold yet. I still think it's too early to sort of make a judgment, but there's a couple of issues still there that I think just need ironing out, and maybe with a bit of time, we start to see more consistency from this Chelsea team. But I think again there was another poor 45 minutes in there for me, which going forward isn't going to be good enough if we're talking about getting into the top 4.
No, I agree with that. I think that's well summed up, man. Flawless. What are you saying about this Sancho thing, man? Because like that must hurt a bit. You're seeing him come on and ball out a bit. Listen, he wasn't outstanding. Don't get me wrong, but he certainly won him the game. What do you make of Chelsea, my bro?
Yeah, it's mixed with the Sancho because from a non-Manchester United fan perspective, I want to see him ball out at Chelsea. Obviously, I want Chelsea to do terrible, of course, but the way that he was spoken about whilst he was at Manchester United, the whole incident with him and Ten Hag, I still have no criticism of him. I would have done the exact same thing. If I was in Jadon Sancho's situation and what happened with Ten Hag, I would have done the exact same thing. Only difference is the pin post where he was firing back at Ten Hag would still be up on my page. That's the only difference. So I fully understand why he did what he did. And the way he was spoken about Manchester United fans, like he was awful. People talking about him like he was Anthony or like he was Mudryk. Had he performed well for Manchester United when he had played for us? No, he hadn't. But that wasn't solely on him. Should he have done better? Yes. But look at the players around him. Look at the 2 managers he had. We never, ever played to his strength. So the fact that he got on the pitch, got the assist and was man of the match, didn't surprise me because Sancho's talented. If you don't think Sancho's talented, you just don't like him. And it's like, all right, just be honest with that. In regards to Chelsea, no, not at their best. But they weathered the storm. And when you have the attacking talent they have starting on the pitch, and then you bring the attacking players like a Sancho or João Felix, even though he wasn't good, and then Konku who got the goal off the bench, you're gonna nick it. I was on my watch along and I said, yeah, Chelsea are gonna win this game. It was like 60 minutes in, and I was like, Chelsea are gonna win this game. When you don't take your chances in the Premier League, normally you get sucker punched. And we've seen it time and time. We've seen it in the Villa Everton game. Calvert-Lewin misses a 1-on-1 and it could have been 3-1 up, and then Villa again equalized, and then John Duran scores a banger. So with the Bournemouth Chelsea game, Chelsea not at their best, but weathered the storm, and their attacking talent got them a goal pretty much. And did they deserve the win? No, but at the end of the day, they got the 3 points, and that's what really matters. I can see what Enzo Maresca is trying to do, and yeah, he's got new players in there. He's trying to implement his system, but you can see it. So it's like Chelsea. If I was a Chelsea fan, I wouldn't be too concerned. I think it's more so personnel on their standpoint, from a defensive standpoint. That is their main issue, but they'll score a lot of goals. They will score a lot. I do agree with Dan as well. Jackson isn't good enough to take him to the next level. So what do you do with that? What is the front four that you do play? Do you play Palmer in the 10? Do you play him out wide? But overall, I think Chelsea will have a good season overall.
Interesting. What do you reckon, judges? Chelsea.
Yeah, listen, in football, you need a little bit of luck. I still think, like, fine lines, isn't it? That penalty goes in, who knows, like, you know what I mean? And, you could say the same about Man United. You ride your luck, and then, you I say ride your luck, but you need sometimes, if penalties go in, and, Southampton were in the ascendancy in that game until the penalty. I thought if Bournemouth would have took that penalty and scored it, they probably would have gone on and won that game. I don't think that's being too harsh, but once they didn't score it, you just knew that Chelsea were going to have a chance and get the result. And at the end of the day, as long as you don't have to play that well sometimes to get results. You've got to keep yourself in it and be disciplined and everything like that, and get the result. And what Chelsea have got, which a lot of these teams, including ourselves, if I look back and look at the game changes they had on the bench, like that can change it and all that. Like, there's a lot of, like players that they're bringing on there, 20 minutes to go from the end, like Sancho and players like that tiring defence, and Bournemouth haven't got the players to bring on, like to stiffen it up and whatever. And that's why these teams and the bigger teams get the results against these teams, because they've got that better players off the bench and game changers from it. And listen, if Chelsea continue how they're going, they're going to be a bit of a worry, I think. Then I think that they're, I don't think they're going to challenge Manchester City and Arsenal, but I think that top four is definitely on the cards for them. Like, and they could be a little bit of. They weren't that far off of it last season, and that sounds silly, but their form in the back end of last season was really good. If they can keep that momentum going, maybe, and you're just hoping, and I'm pretty sure all of us, apart from Dan, are hoping that that they continue to shoot themselves in the foot, and that's what you're hoping for. Like, the one thing I would worry about Chelsea, and I think it will carry on a little bit more deeper into the season, is like players being happy or not, team spirit and things like that. That is the only thing that may derail them. And let's hope that happens.
Yeah, let's hope it does. Henry, what are you saying, Chelsea this season? Top four, top six?
I've been very vocal about Chelsea because I didn't really understand what their game plan was, because they've got far too many attacking options. And like Judge just said, how do you keep all of those players happy, especially with I can't really disrespect the Conference League because we didn't make it out of group, but this is a football club that's won Champions League titles. They should be in and around that top four competing. I think every Chelsea fan will agree. I look at their fixtures now. West Ham away, that'd be a tough place. They don't have a great record at the Olympic Stadium either. But then after that, Brighton at home, Ghent at home, Forest at home, Barrow at home, Panathinaikos away. The only game I really would question is Liverpool away out of their next 7 games. And football's all about momentum. The one player I thought, other than the Wolves game, I haven't been massively impressed with Cole Palmer. Now, I don't know what you guys think, but last season was an unbelievable campaign for him, and to get anywhere near those numbers again, you're talking one of the best players in the league again. But I don't know, he just hasn't looked anywhere near that sort of play
He's
yet.
been,
Maybe
you know, it is Henry targeted. Like even in the Bournemouth game, they kicked him so many times. Like every time he got the ball, like to the point where even I ain't a Chelsea fan, I felt bad for him. Like
yeah,
they
but they do that
really
with
just
Saka
taking
every
turns
week.
kicking him.
So
I hear
Saka's
you,
had that for the last 2 years, but he
that's
come out
what.
the other side of it.
Yeah, but that's what happens once you have a good season and you become a talisman for your side and a dangerous player, you now get extra attention. So now it's on Cole Palmer to vary his game to the point where now you have to you have to vary your game to still continue to have that impact. Your game has to elevate because now teams are setting up to stop you. When you play Chelsea, the first mindset from a defensive standpoint for the opposition is, all right, how do we stop Cole Palmer?
So, like, I mean, yeah, it's going to be that. But obviously, Chelsea have got so many attacking options. Neto, Sancho.
Yeah.
I despise Chelsea practically on the same sort of level as Arsenal, probably a little bit more than Arsenal at times. But I actually do want Jadon Sancho to do well. Now, I'd love him to score, but Chelsea to still lose the game. If that ever can happen. But there's a player there. There's a serious talent there. They just didn't have the right formation, the right tactics, and the right manager at Man United to get the most out of him. But you look at their attacking options they've got. I mean, Nkunku, that's a Golden Boot winner in the Bundesliga. You know, you've got Cole Palmer, 20 league goals last season. Pedro Neto, Madueke. Like you look at I know Chelsea have gone out and spent a lot of money, but look at the difference between wide areas they've got compared to other teams in the league, especially Spurs. It's night and day. You know, we didn't want to go out and buy Neto. Chelsea went, yeah, no worry, 60 million, no problem. And then the options they've got, they're going to be a headache for a lot of teams because it's kind of, you know, like when it's kind of like pep roulette. You don't really, he changes it so often. Chelsea are going to have a similar sort of thing. Other than the back four, I think the back four, you might see a change here or there. But that front line, they've arguably now got the best set of attackers in the league. Like, there's no reason why that Chelsea team shouldn't be going and doing 70, 80 league goals this season. Neto, Palmer, Jackson, Madueke, Felix, Nkunku, Sancho, Mudryk. I mean, Mudryk's a bit questionable, but I'd say only Liverpool. Other than Erling Haaland, Foden hasn't played a minute yet. Is anyone else going to get 20 goals this season? So, but I think Chelsea will have a good season. Pains me to say it, but I think they will.
I'm not sure, you know. I'm still not sure that Chelsea will have an amazing season. I do think, don't get me wrong, they can score goals. They've got some talent. I still haven't seen enough yet. I understand it's early days, but I think what they're doing at the moment has been so confusing that it's going to take some time. And I don't know that Chelsea fans and time go together. They seem to have been given everything for the last 2 decades now. Have they got time to sit and wait? They said they would, but then they wanted Potter out. They said they would, then they wanted Poch out. Are they going to allow Maresca to be given the season? I think they need to give him the whole year, whatever happens now. You can't just keep sacking managers. It's ridiculous. Even if Chelsea start to slip down towards sort of 7th or 8th again, like towards, I don't know, say Christmas time, I think you've still got to stick with him now because it's just getting silly for me, man. But listen, before we come to a close, I want to touch on United. Flawless. I was listening to TalkSport on the way back. I didn't watch the United game. And I was told Man United were awful for the first half an hour. And if that penalty went in, it could have been different. But when I saw the game, I thought it looked pretty comfortable, man. But what you telling me?
Yeah, we were off like that's what it is with Manchester United. People love to over exaggerate. We're Southampton the better side for the first 20 minutes, you could say so. Yes, but momentum, and we weathered the storm. If they scored a penalty, yeah, of course it's a different game. But that's the same in the Chelsea Bournemouth game as well. If Bournemouth scored a penalty, then they what's it called? They lose the game. Say in the City game, they went 1-0 down after 28 seconds, and then Addison makes a very good save. I can't remember who that. It might have been Bremo after that, or I think it was Visa. It was from a corner, and they could be 2-0 down. But when it's Manchester United, like I said, people want to over exaggerate it. It was fairly comfortable, very pleasantly surprised as well because I was skeptical going there. I spoke on it on here last week, early kickoff after the international break, especially after the Liverpool game. When I seen Eriksen and Maino as a pairing in the midfield, I was concerned, but it worked out. Because one thing those two can do is for the deficiencies as a duo, they can keep the ball well. And we did that. Again, weathered the storm. Defensively, we're actually pretty good, minus Dalot. Dalot had a terrible first half, in particular the first 20, 30 minutes. And like I say, Southampton were in the ascendancy. But after the penalty, I think they only had, after the rebound, from the penalty, they only had one shot on target after that in the entire game. So defensively, we shut them down. Onana was good outside of the penalty save as well. And we got it together and going forward. The first time all season we've actually attacked well. And the only criticism I have is we scored 3 goals and it should have been more. Xerxes should have had a couple times. We should have made better decisions. But yeah, Martinez, absolutely fine. Mazarawi's been a very, very efficient, been super impressed with him overall as well. I mentioned Eriksen and Meno. Bruno, less said about him, the better. Diallo performed well and is just of a certain quality. It's good to see Rashford shooting again. Crazy I'm saying that about a winger. Even not even hitting the target, just shooting again. But he did score a good goal, and Xerxes showing his quality as well. So overall, been waiting for a performance like that, and I'm just hoping it's not a one-off and we can kick on. Yes, it is Southampton. They aren't the best. They probably will get relegated. They are a championship side, but I've watched Manchester United last season struggle against everybody. So I look at it and go, good win.
Who have you got next,
Please
Flawless?
kick on. We
Who's next
have
league game?
Palace
I know you've got
away,
Barnsley.
league game. Yeah, I got Barnsley in the League Cup and then Palace away, which is going to be a tough game.
Yeah, because they like run through you last year.
Yeah. So that's what it is. We owed them. So now this is where
the Palace. I don't know. Don't be surprised if they're like 16th, 17th this year.
Who
Because
Palace?
they've lost a lot of their. I reckon you'll beat Palace.
I hope so. Because we the thing is we owe them. We do owe Palace. So I look at it and I go, all right, let's see. Let's try. I think we'll beat Barnsley. Be interesting to see if the manager does make changes for that. But that Palace game, let's try and put some momentum together. Let's get back-to-back wins because it's something we don't really do. And performance-wise as well. Like I said, I've been impressed with us minus the Liverpool game all season long from a defensive standpoint. But that's the one people will pinpoint because it was so bad and because it was Liverpool at home. But that is the one thing we have done this season. And like I said, offensively, we got it together against Southampton. Yes, it is Southampton, but very pleased, very, very pleased with the performance overall. And we weathered the storm because so many times we'd fumbled. Anytime we was under any form of pressure against any side, once the tide turned against us, but we rid the momentum. That was it. And then
are you going for another trophy again, Flawless? So you're going to try and get top 4? Or what's United's expectation? What's your aim?
For me, Europa League should be the aim. That's for me. I never campaign, never ever. Whilst I've been content creating, before I've been content creating, I'm like, oh, let's go and get top 4s this season. Top 4 should be a given. That's mandatory. Like that's something that shouldn't even be spoken about. Like the fact that it's put up there and people go, well, I want to get top. What do you mean you want to get top 4? We spend enough to automatically mandatory should be in the top 4. Now, do I think we finish in the top 4? No. But to me, Europa League is what I'm looking at in terms of trophies. FA Cup and League Cup, we've shown we can win those too as well. But just looking for a better style of play. Looking for just better performances team-wise and better individual performances as well. They're the key things for me this season, 100%.
Fair play, man. I mean, listen, Europa League is something that you should 100% be going for. I look at the Europa League. Personally, I still feel like I wouldn't be writing off Porto or Fenerbahce. They're the two I'm looking at, thinking Jose's always got a chance, whoever he's managing. And I look at Porto and I think, wow, they're in the Europa League. Like they did well in the Champions League last season. But for me, Man United, they should always look, and to be fair, Spurs as well, they should always be looking at that as an opportunity because I think we underappreciate how good the England sides are sometimes in comparison to the other leagues. But I will say that I think, excuse me, Manchester United, I don't see him doing anything until Ten Hag goes. The only thing I see is maybe getting a potential for a trophy again that they've done the last couple of seasons. So for me, Ten Hag is still the issue at Manchester United, in my opinion, like big time. But listen,
biggest detriment
finish higher, Pots?
Sorry, say that again.
Who do you think will finish higher, Man United or Spurs?
Bloody hell!
It's still you lot. I still got you lot above us.
I've still got Spurs. I've still got Spurs in my prediction table ahead of Man United. Yeah, I have.
Don't let this performance.
I reckon. I'll tell you what. I reckon we will finish above, but it won't be Ange managing Tottenham.
Yeah, come take Ten Hag, please.
Who do you want? Who do you want, Henry? Go on. You want him sacked? So I didn't ask you who you wanted.
I mean, the best manager out there that's available is probably someone like Xavi. But is Xavi going to come to Tottenham? Probably not. He's won a league title with Barcelona. Do you go and get Oliver Glasner from Palace?
You take Tuchel.
Oh, a heartbeat. Another Chelsea manager. Well, to be fair, we like Chelsea managers. Conte, Jose, Villas-Boas. You know, we might as well get on a bandwagon and get another Chelsea manager that's going to win nothing. Club. Yeah, I would take Tuchel because Tuchel has a play style and he knows how to win games. And he'd put us straight at the three at the back and we'd go Dragusin, Van der Ven and Romero. And we wouldn't have this defensive line that's basically in the opposition's penalty area and we wouldn't get counter-attacked. So immediately shave off 30 goals conceded. Like Thomas Tuchel yesterday, we would have got a draw against Arsenal because we immediately. I spoke about this so many times yesterday. Who's Arteta's first signing for Arsenal? Big signing. It's Gabriel.
Gabriel,
defensively good and hard to beat. Who's our first big signing? Brennan Johnson. That doesn't coach the defense. Thomas Tuchel will make us hard to beat. Glasner. I mean, it's quite risky. He had a good year with Palace, but that team's been decimated. Elise's gone.
If you're going to take a manager from someone who's in the Prem, I'd go for Thomas Frank over Glasner. I'll try and get Frank in.
Yeah,
Potter's available, mate. Graham Potter's available.
Gareth Southgate is available.
You're having a laugh, Lee. I'd rather Ange.
No, I'm serious. It'd be a fantastic appointment.
It's probably going to
be good at the back.
Yeah. Notoriously, we pay like the third highest in the league for managers. We've always paid high. Jose, Conte, Poch are all on 16 million a year plus. So we can attract a manager from a wage perspective. And Thomas Tuchel and Xavi should be on the radar. But I'm not like completely cussing Spurs for the sake of it. Would Xavi right now, looking at the state we're in, take the Tottenham job? Would Tuchel?
I think Tuchel would, you know. I actually think Tuchel would go.
We looked at Arne Slot and we rejected him. We rejected him, Potts. He didn't reject us. We went, nah, see you later. Do you know why? Because it's just who we are, mate.
No, you might go right. You might go right still. You might go right. Because you lot rejected didn't you lot reject Ten Hag as well before we had him?
Yeah, we rejected Slot and Ten Hag. I like what the club are doing we've got rid of a hell of a lot of deadwood. Well, we've ripped up contracts, we spent money, we're signing our academy players down to professional contracts. I like everything that the club are doing, other than about 4 players we brought in from actual acting like a so-called big football club. However, this isn't all on Ange, because at the end of the day, you can't polish a turd, and Brennan Johnson is a turd. But tactically, we are so easy to fight. You'll see it against Coventry and Brentford. You'll see it.
Well, I just put in next Spurs manager odds just to see what it says. And Graham Potter's favourite 5-1, Thomas Frank 6-1, Marco Silva from Fulham 6-1, and Tuchel 10-1. There we go.
Okay, so we've got European aspirations. Other than Tuchel, has any of them got European experience?
Nah.
That's what I'm saying.
Potter's beating Arsenal, isn't he?
Mate, Tuchel will be quite.
No?
We should have got De Zerbi. That's what we should have done. In Marseille, flying at the moment.
Apparently they are. We just signed Rabiot as well.
Yeah, I would have taken Rabiot. We could have done
Rabiot's gone there. Free transfer. Rabiot, yeah.
Today, aren't they?
He can win a header, so he'd have done all right for us.
Love it, Henry. Love it. Right, people, we're going to wrap there, man. Big up to Lee. Big up to Henry. Big up, Dan. Big up, Flawless. Let's get these guys to shout out what they're up to. Henry, talk to me, man. How can people follow you, bro?
Yeah, I'm just going to get cooked most of the week. But yeah, Henry Talks Football and Henry Wright TV. We've got a game on Wednesday night. I'll be honest, not looking forward to it. Would you want to go and have a lay down or just wake up in December? But yeah, Henry Wright TV and Henry Talks
Football. For that, Henry?
Yeah, I will be doing a watch long for that.
I shall be watching.
You'll be there, judges. Yeah.
That'll be my evening's entertainment.
I'm going to be going for about at least 10 of these chairs this season because I threw this one again in the Arsenal game. Just basic defending set pieces, a basic football skill, and we've conceded 21 goals in the last 38 games from set pieces.
The best Henry watch long was Newcastle last year by far. That was absolutely superb. The 6-1, that was absolutely brilliant.
No, it wasn't.
We're going to say it again every single time. Just repeat, rinse and repeat. 6 times.
Jacob Murphy pulling out Steven Gerrard. It's like Jacob Murphy. He got an assist against us the other day. He put his start for us.
Yeah, he did. I remember that. That's hilarious, man. Make sure you go follow Henry Talks Football, Henry Wright TV. Dan, what you got coming up, man? How can people follow you, bro?
Yeah, BDB Dan across all the socials. I'll be chatting about Chelsea, watching the Champions League coming back this week, innit? So, yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Chelsea's European campaign don't start for a while yet, I don't think, to be honest with
Next
you.
week, isn't it?
Next
Is it not the
week, I
week?
think,
Is
yeah.
it the week after? Yeah. Or next week, should I say?
Big up, man. Big up. Make sure you go follow BDB Dan as well. And Flawless, lastly, man, what you got coming up, bro?
Yeah, people just subscribe. Sarcasm City TV on YouTube. Follow and playback Sarcasm City TV as well. All the content, the schedules there, people. It's all there. So yeah, and that's me, Flawless, as you can see on the screen. That's on all socials as well, my personal account. Big up for having me on No Pots Judges. Good to see Henry and Dan as well, man. Big up.
Come
And who
on.
Man United got this week?
We've played Barnsley in the League Cup and then Palace on
Ooh.
Saturday.
Barnsley. Is that home or
Yeah.
away?
Home at Old Trafford.
That's a gimme.
Oh, is that not your evening entertainment on Tuesday, Judges? No?
No, I think I might watch Liverpool. might watch Liverpool on Tuesday, like that. I mean, they're playing Milan, aren't they? Like that. I might watch a bit. Sorry, that might watch a bit of Champions League that day, like that.
I think Villa have got Bayern, haven't they? Next
What,
Yeah,
round.
Villa do play Bayern. Yeah.
Oh, is
I
it?
think so.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What, on Tuesday?
No, they've
I
got
thought Villa
young
had,
boys tomorrow, but I think the following game
Young boys, yeah.
they've got
Milan versus Liverpool, that'd be a good one. Liverpool could lose that.
Yeah, that's going to be good on Tuesday. I'm going to watch. I'm going to keep eyeing both. I'm going to watch
That'd
both.
be good. That'd be good.
If you're doing a watch along for that, I'll that's my Tuesday entertainment sorted out. Thank you very much.
Love it, man. Love it. Listen, people, do us a favor, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to all these guys. Make sure you come follow myself for Football's 12th, man. I'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. where we're all going to cook Deji. That will be fun. Deji was getting very confident on this channel not too long ago, and on my channels, of course, he is. So this will be fun tonight at 8 p.m. Lee, I'll let you have the last words to see us out, my bro.
Yes, what can I say? You can be having a bad day, but just think, you could be a Spurs fan.
Damn.